And I have a blank one here, so this isn't it. But one of the things I realized, coloring, and this is and I don't have them with me. I left them on the table, but I'll get y'all one if y'all need one. If you don't have one, it looks like this. But one of the things I started doing also on the back of it is, like, if you look in Bob's material, and I mean you can get it through the as we go through it. But on page 41, to me, I think it's helpful is on the back of the map is to kind of make a list of the places where they went, how that, what kind of happened there. And again, just kind of abbreviate and just kind of, and some stuff you may want to put it in your own words. As we get to a certain place, certain things that were done, you may want to put it in your own words, as it were. But it could help you as you go through. And again, you just put it on the back of your map, and so you got the front that you're going to kind of do whatever you want to on it. I got the color the Mediterranean, So just saying that I think that can be helpful. It can be as helpful as we let it be. And so that's one of the things I wanted to mention. I wanted to hold the one I did, but Wednesday night, I'll bring that one Wednesday night. All right, so basically we looked at as we picked up the Song of Moses. And in here it says in Deuteronomy 31:30, it talks about there's more than one song. And one of the verses I wanted to read, going over to Deuteronomy 31. Deuteronomy 31:19. I wanted to read this one because I hadn't really thought of this, but it says, this is Deuteronomy 31, verse 19. Now, therefore, write down this song for yourselves and teach it to your children of Israel. Put it in their mouths, that this song may be a witness for me against the children of Israel. And I won't go into all the things there, but one of the things that, songs can be so powerful. And, we sing songs, we sing hymns, and, the thoughts that are there, it brings our mind to a certain thing. And so I thought, God, what?
Let's adjust your mic a little bit. Put it. There you go.
Am I too loud?
No, you're rubbing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I am so sorry. I did not mean to do that. Thank you, Joel, because I didn't realize I was. Am I still rubbing? Let me get some of this cord out. Yeah, there we go. Am I still being distractive there? Okay. I apologize. That did not realize that. But one of the things about that God wanted the people to sing songs, to have these songs, to put these thoughts in their minds, and then as we read in there in Deuteronomy, where teach it to your children. Get those thoughts out there. And I thought, how appropriate, when you think about it. And so, but we're actually going to get into the Song of Moses. In Exodus 15, we have the Song of the Redeemed in Victory. And so this is going to be one of those songs that you would like to think, yes, they're going to teach it to their kids, and they're going to sing this over and over again. You would hope. We also, think about in Revelation 15, and they sang the Song of Moses, and the servant of God, and the Song of the Lamb, saying, "Great and marvelous are thy works, Lord God Almighty. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of the saints." So the point of it is, songs and those kind of things can have a great impact on us. And I know there's some people that may not, I don't sing that well, or I don't. We're trying to get the essence of what God would have us to know, and it does connect us. And so that's one of the things that I think God wants us to embrace, and we need to. It can help us in so many ways. So in Exodus chapter 15, I'll read verses 1 through 4. Then Moses and the children of Israel sang this song to the Lord and spoke, saying, "I will sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. The horse and its rider he has thrown into the sea. The Lord is my strength and song. He has become my salvation. He is my God, and I will praise him. My father's God, and I will exalt him. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his army he has cast into the sea. And so basically, this is a major turning point for the children of Israel. Why is this such a major turning point for them, would you think? Here's Pharaoh and his army, and that's how he enforces things. And so here they are, they're coming after them, and the children of Israel think, we have no help, as it were. We're all going to die. And again, they shouldn't have thought that. They should have had the faith in God that they should. But then when God brings about this deliverance, it's kind of like we don't have to look back at Egypt at all. There's, who's going to come after us now? So I think in that sense, and I ask you, do y'all get that sense as well? Kind of that.
Perhaps the biggest victory they have seen so far. There were plagues, which they came through those plagues, that affected people of Egypt, but this was dramatic. It should have made a grand impression on them.
Here's this army that I would think is invincible. It's of its time and day, they are the most powerful coming at them, and they're automatically okay, we're all going to die. I mean, worst case scenario, this is you just brought us out here to get us slaughtered, and now victory. Yes.
It's also at a point where they get to see the Lord directly fighting for them. This is straightforward. The Lord destroyed the armies of Egypt. It's something they could not have done on their own.
And in this process, as we mentioned before, everybody had to play a part. God didn't just look at the army and just, it's gone. So everybody had to play a part. Do you remember what parts had to be played? What the children of Israel have to do? They had to go forward. They had to actually go through the Red Sea. Remember, did Moses have anything to do? With the staff, yeah, hold out the staff, yeah, and the Lord allowed the Egyptians, kind of let them think, hey, you got these folks, but the thing was when they realized too late, when they realized God was fighting for them, when they were in the midst of the sea, and the horses weren't able to pull them for various reasons. I don't know if the wheels just fell off or locked up or whatever. But the point is, this is a great victory right here. And this should be something that, if, anytime, going forward from here, it doesn't matter what we face. God's going to fight for us. So that should have been a thing. And then so we're looking at the Song of Moses. The depths have covered them. They sank into the bottom as a stone. Thy right hand, O Lord, has become glorious in power. Thy right hand, O Lord, has dashed in pieces the enemy. And the greatness of thine excellency has overthrown them that rise up against thee. Thou sendest forth thy wrath, which consumed them as stubble, and with the blast of thy nostrils the waters were gathered up. The flood stood upright as a heap, and the depths were congealed in the heart of the sea. The enemy said, I will pursue, I will overtake, I will divide the spoil. And we pause there. So here the Egyptians were thinking, hey, we got these folks. And what kind of spoil would they be looking to get? Do you think? These are slaves. Why would they think they're going to be? Yes.
Before they left, God asked them to ask Egypt to go, and they graciously gave everything that they wanted.
They had quite a bit of wealth with them. Yes, they did. On the surface you think, well, these are slaves coming out of. No. You're exactly right. God had given them favor in the sight of the Egyptians, and when they asked for gold, silver, whatever, the Egyptians were like, yeah, whatever. You take whatever. And so, divide the spoil. My lust shall be satisfied upon them. I will draw my sword. My hand shall destroy them. I have no doubt that's exactly what was in their minds. We're going to come down on them. And then, when you think about on the spoil, we're going to take some to be our slaves. We're going to do this. I'm just saying, what may have been in their minds. All this, what's going to happen now, and it didn't. Thou didst blow with the wind. The sea covered them. They sank as lead in the mighty waters. Who is like thee, O Lord, among the gods? Who is like thee, glorious in holiness, fearful in praises, doing wonders? Thou stretchest out thy right hand. The earth swallowed them. So in essence, that's exactly what happened. They completely perished. Excuse me. You have led in your steadfast love the people whom you have redeemed. You have guided them by your strength to your holy abode. The people have heard, they tremble, pangs have seized the inhabitants. And notice this right here, as was mentioned a while back, and I think Chris had mentioned this, about how the people round about would hear about all this stuff. Can you imagine being, off, but close enough, and getting to hear about how, obviously the plagues to begin with, but then this, and I would imagine the countries, the nations around Egypt, they would have feared Egypt. Those guys are powerful. You can't beat them. But they're going to hear about it, and it's going to have an effect on them. The people have heard, they tremble, the pangs have seized the inhabitants of Philistia. Now are the chiefs of Edom dismayed. Trembling seizes the leaders of Moab. All the inhabitants of Canaan have melted away. Terror and dread fall upon them because of the greatness of your arm. They are still as a stone till your people, O Lord, pass by, till the people pass by whom you have purchased. So the idea is, this is going to have far-reaching effects, and just saying. And so that's something maybe we don't always think about. But when you look at, when God does something, there may be multiple benefits that come out of this, and of whatever He does. And certainly this, what should have been, the people at this point after this there should be no questioning. Doesn't matter what happens to us. We serve God. Yes.
Real quick.
Sure.
You would think that this song would have been ringing in the ears, or should have been ringing in the ears of the people in Numbers 13, when the spies went to spy out the land. Their hearts have melted. We can take it, but the exact opposite happened. But by Jericho, we see that even 40 years later, their hearts had still been melted. Rahab repeated such words as these, that she did not want to fall into the hands of this God. So she submitted her will. But that is a key lesson that it seems this generation did not get it, but the second generation did. And it seems that maybe those lessons were taught well. They forgot it eventually, but there is great importance to that.
That they weren't consistent in keeping that going. Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, like I say, you look at these people and you can quickly judge them and say, those people. Well, what I think is people are people. And I think today you have people that, think, well, if people could see a miracle, that would change them. People are people, and they can see miracles, but it really comes down to the heart. It comes down to your heart, and just how honest you are and how willing you are to serve God. And when things are going great, yeah, people are on board. But when things start getting a little difficult, and that's what we're going to see, it's all about me now. What about me? What about me? Why am I, having to go through all this kind of stuff? I'm just saying. And you will bring them down, you will bring them in and plant them on your mountain, the place, O Lord, which you have made for your abode, the sanctuary, O Lord, which your hands have established. The Lord will reign forever and ever. For the horse of Pharaoh went in with his chariots and with his horsemen into the sea, and the Lord brought again the waters of the sea upon them, but the children of Israel went on dry land in the midst of the sea. And then, there's some question, and we're going to look at this just briefly, as to whether did Pharaoh go in with the rest of everything. For the horses of Pharaoh went in, and so you can look at that in 14:23. And I'll read this. And the Egyptians pursued and went, and this is the New King James Version. And the Egyptians pursued and went in after them into the midst of the sea, all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. So it doesn't actually, mention Pharaoh per se. And Gill notes meaning that particular and single horse on which Pharaoh was carried. But all the horses of his that drew the chariots and all which his cavalry was mounted, these all went into the Red Sea following the Israelites thither. The Lord covered the royal Egyptian cavalry and the chariots with the sea. The language here and elsewhere, in Psalms, we won't read that, Psalms 136, seems to fall short of proving Pharaoh's death in the Red Sea. And I know in the movie, The Ten Commandments, and again, I don't know if that's according to Jewish history or tradition or whatever, that Pharaoh, and whether Pharaoh went in or didn't go in, does it really change things? But some disagree. In the words, Pharaoh's horse and his chariots and horsemen, Pharaoh riding upon his horse as the leader of his army is placed at the head of the enemies destroyed by Jehovah. For Pharaoh went in on horseback with his chariots and horsemen into the sea, and the Lord brought back upon them the waters of the sea. So there's some people that did it get Pharaoh? Did it not get Pharaoh? And either way, God's judgment was brought about, and and whether Pharaoh made it or he didn't. Basically, if he did make it, he didn't have much of anything left. So, there's no way he's going to be able to do much of anything. And then he may have gone in, so it may have taken him out as well. And Miriam, the prophetess, the sister of Aaron, took a thimbrel in her hand, and all the women went out with her with thimbrels. And with dances. And basically the thing that this is, I guess some people think of it as like a tambourine or some similar something that you can, it makes noise, music, if you will. Miriam the prophetess, so called from receiving her divine revelations, Numbers 12 and Micah 6:4. But in this instance, principally from her being eminently skilled in music. And in this sense, the word prophecy is sometimes used in Scripture, and actually in 1 Chronicles, and I think it is. I think it's that idea of, how I guess people who play music. You think about David, playing music for Saul. Kind of because he to calm him as he had that evil spirit. But in 1 Chronicles 25 and verse 1. Moreover, David and the captains of the army separated for the service some of the sons of Asaph, of Heman, of Jeduthun, who should prophesy with harps, stringed instruments, and cymbals, and the number of the skilled men performing their service was. So, the idea of prophecy with instruments and everything, I think sometimes that doesn't actually mean, what we think per se, that God is they're actually prophesying, but it does bring about, music does stir, and it does, there's things that it does. The sister of Aaron, though she was Moses' sister as well, to point out the position which she was afterwards to occupy in the congregation of Israel, namely as ranking not with Moses but with Aaron, and like him subordinate to Moses, who had been placed at the head of Israel as the mediator of the old covenant. And down the road, we're going to see where she is not on the same level as Moses. Aaron and Miriam are not. Moses is in a special relationship with God, as it were, and he's God's chosen, and so he is to be respected. In Exodus 15:21, and Miriam sang to them, "Sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider he has thrown into the sea." And again, this idea, this is a tremendous moment for them. I mean, just you know, I think you would be so overwhelmed if you were in that number, you wouldn't really know how to react except, the most unthinkable thing has just happened. Pharaoh, his army has been destroyed, and and we have seen the victory. Not it just happening, but as Gable mentioned, thinking about how all this, getting to see this and firsthand account, as it were, and with the songs and stuff like that. So it should just, you'd be overwhelmed, that the song of victory, as it were. Then Moses made Israel set out from the Red Sea, and they went into the wilderness of Shur. They went 3 days in the wilderness and found no water. And again, like on your map, on the top of the map, it's got various things here. I did have to put the wilderness of Shur on there. I did write that in on the top thing right there. And so, but the thing is, when we, again with the map, when we do that, I think it does help you to get that. And so you get a sense here on the map of how the setup of the geography of the land. And I guess this is what it looks like. Pretty desolate. And when you get thirsty, is that does it get your attention? You ever been real thirsty? Well, imagine being in a place like this. They were, definitely that was what was on their mind. And when they came to Marah, they could not drink the water of Marah because it was bitter. Therefore, they named it Marah. The idea of it being bitter. And that's exactly, and on the back of my map, that's what I wrote, Marah, and put bitter on there. So they found the water. They must be, talking about the water, must be very bitter for people in such circumstances, having been without water for 3 days, not able to drink the water. So you're almost out of your mind with thirst, but the idea is I got to have something to drink, and you try to drink this water, and I can't even drink this water. So it must have been very bitter. And the people grumbled against Moses, saying, "What shall we drink?" And he cried to the Lord, and the Lord showed him a log. Now, the New King James, and I guess yours, that says a tree. So whether it was a log, whether it was a tree, it was, something along those lines, I guess. And he threw it into the water, and the water became sweet. There the Lord made for them a statute and a rule, and there he tested them. And notice that, for a moment, do you think God's going to let them die? Would you know all the stuff he's done? All of a sudden now, take them out with thirst. Yeah, that's when being tested like this, the Lord's not going to let that come upon them. But it just makes you wonder in the minds of the people. Do you not? Again. But there the Lord made a statute and a rule there. He tested them, saying, if you diligently listen to the voice of the Lord your God, and do that which is right in his eyes, and give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of the diseases on you that I put on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord your healer. Notice that. He's trying to teach them a lesson here and we'll look at the next slide, because I think this speaks to the essence of it. He's trying to he's testing them to see, when things get bad, like I say, when things are going great, we're all on board. Hey, we'll do whatever you say. But when you have something that's really putting you to the test, as it were, and being without water would do that, you get to see, what are you really made of? You can think examples in the Bible like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. We're going to throw you into this burning fiery furnace. What's going to happen then to you? And you remember their answer, how that. Oh yes.
There was someone that didn't think this
Mm-hmm.
have over someone else. Like all these people thought the same thing.
Well, and you make a good point. You know, usually if you got a group of people, and let's say they're facing some kind of, you know, something's not going well for them, unpleasant. Unfortunately, you seem to always have those people that are quick to voice how bad things are. I mean, if you don't realize how bad they are, they're going to tell you how bad they are. And they really, like you say, can influence you. And that very well could be, there could be some that you know, this is, you know, just, you know, all the stuff going on and everything. And it's like they compound it. They make it even worse, you know. And again, like I say, when you have people, you have those things that go on. That could very well be. I hope I'm not one of those people. I hope that, you know, that's one of the things that we need to realize is that when things do get bad, that, you know, that's when we need to show our best, if you will. It's easy to act one way when things are going great and I'm in my comfort zone, yeah. But when you're out of your comfort zone and things aren't so great, then you get to kind of see, you know, really what's going on. And hopefully I'm not one of those people that can tell you how bad things are. God, it appears, after healing the water and satisfying the physical thirst of his people, gave them an ordinance which he connected by a promise with a miracle. If they would henceforth render strict obedience to all his commandments, then he would heal them as he had healed the water and keep them free at once from physical and from moral evil, from the diseases of Egypt and the diseases of their own hearts. You know, this is the lesson that they should have gotten. You know, he's going to take care of the situation. He's the one who can heal us. And he's the one that, it doesn't matter how bad things look, how hopeless they are, I'm going to trust God. Again, hopefully we're getting the message, we're getting the lesson that so many of them overlooked. Then they came to Elim, where there were 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees, and they encamped there by the water. And so the thing is, you know, so they get to this place, water, I guess, must be really good. There's palm trees. And so God gives them that rest, if you will. He doesn't just keep no water, no. You get to see the highs and lows. They're going to be thirsty again? Well, yeah. Are they going to be hungry again? Well, yeah. But, you know, but God, every time, yes. Any thoughts on that before I... So they get to the wilderness of sin. And really, when it says the wilderness of sin, we automatically think, oh, sin. But I think it's short for Sinai. It's definitely not what, you know, got to automatically jump to that conclusion. And again, here, sin from the Hebrew meaning thorn, not a word for wrongdoing, or transgression. But it's the wilderness of sin. And they took their journey from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came unto the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month after departing out of the land of Egypt. How long had they been out of Egypt now? A month. You know, it's about a month. If you think the 15th of the... Yeah, so it'd be a month. So correct, a month. Yeah, so they had been out of Egypt for 1 month now. And they've gone through a lot, and all these things that they've done, you know, again, you can see how God is trying to help them, trying to shape them, trying to get them, you know, to understand and connect. But we'll as time goes on, we'll see how their hearts were, if you will. And the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. And the children of Israel said unto them, Would to God that we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, and when we did eat bread to the full. For ye have brought us forth into the wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger. And again, you can imagine there were certain people who stood up, and that's exactly what they were. You just want to kill us. again, but and that's how they look back at certain ones. And I guess that'd be the sentiment of everybody in general. Looking back at Egypt, we sat next to those flesh pots and we had bread. Really, it was kind of like being all you can eat. Just we had whatever we wanted. And of course, if you're being realistic, was it really that good for them back in Egypt?
They were crying because they were mistreated so bad, they were crying out to the Lord.
Yeah. So but now they're kind of turning it where, yes, Mike.
See where it says, to God, that we have died by the hand of the Lord in the land of, when we sat by the flesh pots.
Yeah.
We were melted and actually consuming food and eating. But you brought us forth into this land wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger.
Mm-hmm.
When it was actually God that led them out.
Yeah, exactly. But Moses is the one whom they vent on, and he's going to point that out too. It's like, why did you put this burden on me? These people, I'm having, we'll see those moments. But he's the one in front of them that they can see and that they can, it's your fault, And he's going to point out to them, when you complain, it's not against me, it's against the Lord. But the point is, do you think that's a box they would have really wanted to check? Kill us back in Egypt? Do you think that would have been a good choice that they would have picked? Like, kill us? No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Moses turned around there and led them to die, kill them out there.
Yeah, true. The thing is, I think the way they, how we can rewrite history in our minds. We had it so, things were just, but no, it was, they were miserable, and I have no doubt they wanted to leave Egypt. In fact, when they could leave Egypt, they tried to get out as fast as they could. So it's interesting how people can view things, but you do make a good point there about how they pointing at Moses and like, you're the one, you're the problem. Then said the Lord unto Moses, behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them whether they will walk in my law or no. And it shall come to pass on the sixth day they shall prepare that. On the sixth day they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. And so basically, he's alluding to the fact about the Sabbath, and in certain things you read it calls a test Sabbath. Basically, this is the first time that God's going to set that, and when we get to that, we'll look at that. But we won't know. You don't really know much about it other than what than what God tells them to do here. But as we get into the law, then you'll see the how it's to be regarded. Yes.
I mean, everything gives them a specific instruction
Mm-hmm.
that they need proven.
Mm-hmm. And he's going to test them. Yeah.
They're giving them specific instruction.
How do you think they're going to do on that test?
How would I?
Always give the children of Israel a hard time, though, because soon do I complain if it goes a week without rain.
Mm-hmm.
It all goes to the matter of the heart,
Exactly.
and looking to God as our all. And they cannot. God is continually trying to prove them and prove Himself to them, because they did not necessarily know the great I am.
Mm-hmm. And you make a very good point. It's the thing is, God's trying to work with them. You see His mercy, you see His patience, and it's like the people, it just goes right over their head. But you make a good point that, like ourselves today, we can easily look at these people and go, those people, yeah, they're just, but we don't put ourselves in that. Guess what? When times get tough for us, do we, like you say, complain about and we do. this isn't, I wanted this. No, no. When we sing songs like "This World Is Not My Home," do we really think about that? When I'm having a tough time, do I go, oh, wait a minute, don't worry about it. Time is fine. Was there another hand that I might? Oh, yes, Barry.
I was just going to say, and we have Jesus. Moses was a type of, their leader, type of, sort of like a type. We see how they murmured against him and how they rejected him, and they did the same thing to Jesus. We have Jesus as our leader, and that's I think what we're saying. We got to examine ourselves in light of Jesus as our leader, and are we ever reject him?
When God has done so much, and as you point out with Jesus, we who were not a people, now we have a relationship with God. How do we view that? Is that a small thing?
He wants us to live by faith, but he doesn't make it an unseen type of thing. We have evidence, there's plenty of evidence to see, to strengthen our faith. But he wants us to live by faith, and Jesus lived by faith. He taught by faith.
And I'll ask you this question, Barry. Even though you weren't there, do you believe the Red Sea parted? Even though you weren't there, do you believe those plagues went on in Egypt the way they did? Yeah, by faith we believe that. No, didn't have to be there. And we know, there's not a doubt in my mind that happened. And I don't try to, some people try to explain it today. The slide we had where they try to come up with a scientific explanation how the Red Sea could have parted with, this or that. God. And it was a miracle. And it was a setting aside of the natural physical laws. And it's something that does not happen. And you're not going to find the Red Sea parting today and people walking through it. And I'm just saying, the point of it is by faith. And you're exactly right. That's the essence of what it's all about. But even though we weren't there, we believe. And so, very, very, very powerful stuff. And it came to pass that at evening the quails came up and covered the camp. In the morning the dew lay around about the host. And when the dew was gone, on the face of the earth was a small round thing like drops of ice on the earth. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said to one another, "What is it?" For they had no idea what it was. And that's what manna means, is, what is it, from my understanding. And Moses said to them, "It is the bread which the Lord has given you for your food. This is what the Lord has said. Let every man take up as much as he has need of at the rate of 1 omer for every person. Let every person take as much as is needed for his family." So he's giving them instruction. Here's, you gather it up, how much you're to get. And Moses said, "Let no one leave any of it over till the morning." So Moses is telling everybody, don't leave this over till the morning. But they did not listen to Moses. Some left part of it till the morning, and it bred worms and stank. And Moses was angry with them, as he should have been. Here's the instructions, just pretty simple. And yet, there are some that are like, I think I want to eat some. I don't want to have to go gather them. I'll get a little extra here. No. Simple instructions, and again, this is the Lord testing them as well. How well are you going to follow what the Lord said? Morning by morning they gathered it, each as much as he could eat. But when the sun grew hot, it melted. On the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread. Moses said to them, "This is what the Lord has commanded. Tomorrow is a day of solemn rest." Now again, I mean, Paul said this is the Sabbath, and this is when this is first brought in. And let me just ask you real quickly, what was the point of one of the main things of the point of the Sabbath? What did they do on the Sabbath? They rested, exactly. So yeah.
This is the first time we actually see the word Sabbath used in Scripture, and it was according to God's creation, His plan, His acts of creation. On the 7th day, He says He rested. It wasn't because He was tired.
Right.
He was finished.
All the work had been finished. Well, let me ask you this: who would benefit from this day then of rest? Who would benefit from this? Yeah, exactly. This is the Lord again. Love, mercy, and also connection, I think, with, and you see when God did something, it had connections. There were lessons to be learned, things that God wanted people to know. And so, just saying, and so here's God, a solemn rest, a holy Sabbath to the Lord. Bake what you will bake and boil what you will boil. And all that is left over lay aside to be kept till the morning. So they laid it aside till the morning, as Moses commanded them, and it did not stink, and there were no worms in it. So again, here is something that when you follow the directions, it works like it should. But when you don't follow the directions, you have problems. And has anything changed since then? We have to call it there. So I appreciate all the comments and the participation, and thank y'all for being here.